Hi, and welcome to Q&A with the Dumpling Coaches. My name is Sarah, and I'm one of the coaches here at Dumpling. And joining me today is Coach Ashley, and we're going to talk about some higher level topics that tend to come up pretty often. So let's go ahead and dive in. Ashley?
So a big one that happens is people not taking time in their business. And then they're saying, I don't have time to text people back, or I don't have time to work on my marketing. I'm just so busy doing orders for these other gigs. Or why is my business not moving? It's just kind of stagnant. What we recommend for this is admin time, is kind of what we've kind of called it, where you set aside some time during the week to work on your business. This might be social media posts. This might be texting clients back or reaching out to clients you haven't talked to in a while. This might be maybe taking some time to look at a local networking event or learning a skill for your business, whatever it may be. Kind of think about it as a little bit of time to put your phone on do not disturb, sit somewhere quiet, and really dive into your business. So that might be when your kids are at school, that might be, a Sunday evening, whatever that looks like for you, but be consistent in it. I personally like to go into my Google Calendar and block off time for myself to really hold me accountable to do that. And if I really don't have the energy to work on something for my business that day, I'll do something business related. If I'm really good ahead of time, I'll schedule what I need to do that day. But just to maintain the habit, when I'm not feeling it, I still do something. That might be looking at similar businesses on social media, something like that, checking out social media for the businesses I shop at, whatever it may be. But generally speaking, it's something a little bit more productive, like working on client follow-up or pre-scheduling some social media posts, working on some graphics or flyers for an upcoming promotion, whatever that may look like. But be consistent and actually set the time, because otherwise you're going to keep putting things to the back of your to-do list, especially if you are busy working with other gigs, and that time is just going to slip away. Once I started doing this in my business, it helped significantly. I was able to keep clients better. I was able to start getting new clients, even if it's just split up, right? You have an hour here, an hour 2 days later, whatever it may look like. And within that, I also got in a good habit of, okay, this group next to me allows business postings on Wednesday. Their Working Women's Wednesday is what they call it. And that's when I'm allowed to post about my business in there. So I would actually block off that hour every Wednesday. It's only going to take me 10 minutes to post, right? But I do want to take some time to read some other recent posts in that group that maybe I'm the solution to their problem, or to just be a group member so that people are more trusting of me when they see me talk about my business. And just kind of be a little bit more engaged. And so that's my time to plug in. So it can look different for you. There's definitely tools to help with this, like Google Calendar or whatever other tools you're finding. Some people use a paper planner, whatever it may be, but set aside that time and hold yourself accountable to it. Even if you don't hold yourself accountable to an actual agenda for it, and it will really help you reach your goals a lot faster.
I think something you said is so important is the engagement, right? So I think so many times some people, they go in, they post, and then they're just like, okay, it'll take care of itself. But you want them to see you as a human being, right? You want to be replying to things, not just people that are commenting on your posts or messaging you, but like Ashley said, taking the time to scroll through those groups, search the groups for keywords, see what people are kind of talking about. And if there's a way that you can kind of, whether it's presenting your business or just join the conversation, even if it has nothing to do with your business, it'll still help, right? Because they'll kind of see, they'll put 2 and 2 together of like, oh, that's Ashley from Ashley J Shops for You, or whatever it may be, so that they're connecting the dots between the two. And you're not just in there to kind of hound and be salesy. You're in there to be a community player, right? And I think that is extremely important. And so many people kind of oversee that part. And it's a very important part.
It works with other businesses too, right? Because often on those, especially if it's like the group I'm in, it's one long post that they do on Wednesdays. I'll find some of those other businesses and I'll go like their business page as my business page. Or on Instagram and Facebook, I really engaged a lot with a grocery outlet near me. They're franchise owned, right? So they're a local owner. The more I did this over time, just taking those few minutes to kind of cheer them on or comment on their stuff, even if it wasn't, hey, I do this, come work with me, it helped build a relationship. So when it came time for people to start asking them about delivery, I was top of mind, and they actually reached out to me and said, can you bring in some business cards, and kind of set up a partnership that way. And it was just by me passively making sure that I scheduled in some time to interact with them and be, just a community member, a very active customer of them. And the same thing with other small businesses, right? Like local bakeries or people who create jewelry and do craft shows, anything like that can be a great person to have a relationship with. So read through the other business posts. And if there's something that could apply to you, someone that you want to network with, go follow them, but don't just do it as Ashley, right? Do it as your business page. And that can really help you stand out there. So again, even if you're doing something passive in this admin time, something business related, and it will help you build that goal. But the passive stuff can help later on too. And we talked in our social media stuff a little bit more about how to like things as your page. So if you're feeling stuck there, reach out to us and we can help you. But just setting time apart is a great habit to build. And it's not something that we're used to doing with the other gigs. So it comes up pretty often. The question might be worded differently, but pretty often that's the answer.
And just really quickly, and we touched on this a lot, I think, within the Promote Your Business courses, especially when we're talking about social media. But for those that don't know, if you're wanting to utilize something that helps kind of conjoin your socials together, Meta Business can be, I believe it's Meta Business Suite is actually the name. We can link that in the description, but that's one where you can at least link like Instagram and Facebook. So you post on one and it posts to both of them. And that way you can see everything all in one app instead of having to switch back and forth. So that can be pretty helpful when it comes to kind of that admin time as well, at least between those apps. Number 2, so how to kind of handle inventory shortages or recalls. We see a lot of this, especially the inventory shortages, and included in that, we've got the inflation, and then recalls are kind of a whole other ball game. But knowing your stuff, being an expert within the industry is super important, and that's going to help you set yourself apart. So I sign up for getting recalls. So I get all of the recalls right to my email, regardless of whether or not it's something that I purchase. And I open every single one of them and read through. I have a good idea of what my clients actually order or what they purchase, but 9 times out of 10, I send it to them either way, because maybe they got it and I just didn't know. They could have been out on their own. Maybe somebody dropped it off for them. You have no idea. So I pass that information to my clients so they can make the best judgment call, because they may not know about it. And then when it comes to like inventory shortages, we're the experts, right? We are in stores all day long. So we know what stores tend to have more of that inventory. We also tend to know what items are cheaper, where to go to get those cheaper items. And we have the flexibility to do so. Unlike other gigs, you're not able to go to another store or to a farmer's market or to just a local farmer. So right now for eggs, for example, they are not only a shortage, they are extremely expensive and hard to find. But you're able to go to any store. You could go to a local farmer that is down the road from you or your client, and you can pick up the eggs from them and get them cheaper, or hopefully at least within they're in stock versus the stores. So those are just a few of kind of the ideas that you guys are able to do, but digging into this information and becoming that expert is what is going to set you apart at the end of the day between those other gigs and your business. Ashley?
That was a great point on the other store. Obviously, when you're talking to people about recalls and things like that, you don't have to message them, buy from me, order from me, sale, sale, sale. But think about what value you provide in connection with that. And that's the lens you can talk about it from. So when we talk about eggs, for example, we've also seen this with baby formula, hand sanitizer, toilet paper. But with eggs, a good example is that in my area, grocery outlet is fully stocked. Again, they are a small franchise company. They're not partnered with the big gigs. So they don't have Instacart and Ship shoppers coming in and depleting their inventory. If I were to go to Fred Meyer, which is partnered with those gigs, they are pretty much empty. What they have left has a purchase limit. It may not be the best quality of what's left. There's not really much selection and the price is really much higher. But if I go to grocery outlet, they're still pretty well stocked. And then I can even let my client know, do you want white eggs or brown eggs? You know, they actually have an option. And I can offer to just do that before or after I go to the other store and check for them because I know it's already an issue. And so as I go to the store, I look around and I see it could be, I know when toilet paper happened, the corner marts had it well after other people did. I know hand sanitizer, Big Lots had that, and Lysol when the other stores did not. So just kind of thinking about what else is in your area. You're an expert on that. Your customers might be at home. They might not be going to the store as much, and they might not really think about what is in different stores. When they're in a store, they're not thinking about, oh, go check the egg section, right? But we are. And so just within that, it's not just, I can check a different store for you. It's, I can check the stores everyone forgot about, right? Or I can check the stores that have a different purchasing option to them. I know another thing here is my town is pretty well cleared out of eggs, but a town over, it's like nothing's happening. And so what I do is I go in these local Facebook groups, and as people talk about it, I read all the comments. That helps as well. I didn't have to go to the next town to learn that they still have a pretty well stock of them, but I think that town is a little bit closer to some of the farms is how that happens. And then just knowing, why is this issue happening? So with gas prices increasing or the egg shortage happening, read some articles about it, be the expert, and that way it's easier for you to kind of summarize that up for your clients. They might be seeing memes about it, but they haven't been in the store to see what's happening. And so you could talk about, you know, there was a bird flu, and so this is happening. This is when it's expected to resolve. And then the other part of that is Easter is coming soon, right? I'm not sure when you'll watch this, but for right now, Easter is just over a month away, about a month and a half. And what's happening is as we get closer to Easter, the egg thing can really pick up. Us as personal shoppers, we know this. We start to see when the Easter stuff is being put out in stores and the egg decorating kits. And so we even have the ability to remind our customers, hey, I know you normally get eggs once a month. Let's get that earlier this time. Or try something a little bit different because you kind of know their purchase habits. And that's a huge value. You're essentially reminding them of a problem before it's a problem. So all the different ways that you handle this are ways that really set you apart from other delivery options.
Exactly. And I think kind of going back off of what we had said earlier of like kind of being an admin time is you can implement this as well. So if you're not looking, you don't have anything to really post about on social, but you just came across a recall, that can be something that you share with your local community. It doesn't have to just be the people that you work with, because that's showing how much you care. You may not gain anything from it. That's okay. We all are kind of we're living in this world together, and being able to talk to people within our community and say, hey, I found this out. You should know. I had somebody not too long ago, just last week, someone had posted in my local group about eggs at a local farm. And they posted exactly where it was and where you could go. And then the person that owned the farm jumped in and was like, oh my God, thank you so much. People are now we know where we can go to get some eggs. Things like that can be extremely helpful. So it's not always about, all right, how can I gain clients? You may gain clients from it, but also think about the ways, how can I just help people in my community by giving them this information of, here are some cheap eggs that are, not only are you supporting local, but you're probably going to save almost half the cost. Or this peanut butter just went on recall, and I want to make sure that my people in my community are aware of this, because not everybody is. And hopefully if you're doing that under your business page, that leads them to your page, and then they can hopefully like and follow to gain more information from you in the future.
Can also just build trust generally, right? Like the farmer or whoever saw that, they'll recognize your name when you do post about your business later. So kind of goes back to that engagement piece about be a community member. Not everything is just going to be buy, sell. There's a lot of sort of natural networking that happens in between. And sometimes that can be uncomfortable if we're not used to it. And so just making sure you really set aside time to kind of push yourself to do that helps build a habit.
I think so. Ashley, before we move on to number 3, maybe we take a moment to talk about networking. We don't talk about it super often. I mean, we do here or there, but maybe just what are the different ways that people can actually get out there and network within their communities or on socials and things like that, outside of just like kind of the normal marketing that we teach day to day.
Yeah, I think start where you're comfortable, right? Is the first thing. So let's say you volunteer at your kid's school, you're meeting people in the PTA or whatever it may be, wear your business shirt when you go. I know for me, I also volunteer at an animal shelter. That's a comfortable spot for me. And as you work next to someone, even if it's just doing laundry, they're eventually going to ask you icebreaker questions. What do you do? Where do you work? It doesn't matter if you have another job. Always start with your business, because that's what you want top of mind. And you say, I run a delivery business. Usually what happens is they're going to ask you further questions. Oh, is that like this? Or what does that look like? Or, oh, my aunt actually really needs this. You have a card on you, right? Or nearby that you can grab. That is an easy way, just wherever you are already existing. Now also connect your business to that a little bit. And again, you can do that without shoving, sales pushiness down people's throats. Just when someone asks about you, this is part of your introduction. Now, if you are kind of a homebody and you don't really go anywhere, start adding places that you go, or people that you talk to. You can look at Facebook and see what free events are coming up near you. You can volunteer a couple hours a month. It doesn't have to be a full-time job to meet people. And then another space people have gone is local networking groups. I know here we have quite a few. Some are women-centered, some are general. And if those people are hosting events or things, I might go there and introduce myself. Technically, or usually what happens is small business owners really keep an eye out for other small business owners. And so that can be a pretty impactful space. Another one is just, maybe the Chamber of Commerce. Sometimes you do have to pay to join something like that. But it's a great resource. Again, full of small business owners who might be busy and need your services and who have connections with a lot of people. Anywhere you go like that, always be positive and kind and respectful. We've heard stories, right, where someone stopped and helped a neighbor's kid outside of a delivery house, and another neighbor saw that, and that became a referral for them. So just always try to be your best self when you're out and about as your business. When people recognize you, you want them to have a good memory, a good association with that. So if you're really having an off day, do not run around in your business shirt. But in general, just anywhere in your community where you could meet people face to face, just be more intentional to actually talk to them, to actually start up a conversation, to actually engage with people. It's something that sometimes takes practice if you are quiet, but that's why we say start where you're comfortable. It'll be a lot easier. Like when I was at the animal shelter, there's already a trust there. It was an easy place to practice because these people didn't need to buy from me. They don't care about the answer, right? They just want to talk to me as a person. It's a lot easier to practice in a space like that than it is to just go talk to a stranger. we know we have something in common. We both like the animal shelter. We both worked with animals, right? It smooths that over a little bit.
I think one other that I would add is checking Meetup. There are quite a few different groups within that, and networking groups can actually be pretty good, depending on, your area and if there's actually a group created. If not, that could be something that you either create or maybe talk in your local Facebook group of networking people and see if it's something you guys can create. I think Meetup is a great place to kind of get started and to meet people in person, right? They set specific dates each month or week, however they decide to set it up, and you talk in person, you get to know each other. We don't get a whole lot of that, especially in today's day and age. There's a lot, whether it's over, social media or Zoom or whatever. So getting in and knowing people personally can be, I think, a super huge benefit.
I know that helps for me too, because as much as I say start where you're comfortable, if I just do my hobby, I might end up with just people my gender, my age group, etc. But if I'm kind of going out to these other things that are a little bit more broad, that's where I'm going to meet people who are a different generation than me or a different income than me, things like that. And that can really help as well. But again, you're starting in like a comfortable space, or where you kind of have a shared value or a shared thing that can be an easy icebreaker. But don't feel like you just have to talk to your exact person either. Perfect. So the next one that we want to talk about is offering other services in your business. We've seen all sorts of these over the years. I myself do quite a few of them. Some examples are like package pickup, donation drop off, gift baskets, dog walking, meal prep, house cleaning, goes on and on and on. But the question that comes up once people realize that they can cross promote or work with the same customers is, how do I do that in the app? And the answer is essentially whatever way works for you. So that can be confusing for people too, but some people add it as a separate fee. Like, hey, I am adding a fee for the home organizing, but we're also including the receipt from the Container Store. Some people just charge it out separately if it's a completely separate service, but they make sure, I'm pet sitting your dog, but while you're out of town, I do have to buy dog food. So let's put that on the Dumpling app. So I don't have to come up with the money to pay for that. Things like that. I've also seen people kind of price a service like personal chef or something like that higher and they say, just order under this. There's not actually options in the app right now to say, I want to do donation drop off, add that on. It's obviously a conversation we've had over the years, but people make it work even without it. It's just setting client expectations. You decide what's easier for you, and then you just push them to go that path to do it.
Exactly. Awesome. So number 4, dive deeper into your niche. So everybody kind of has their own niche or their specialty that they can bring to their business, and not everybody's going to be the same, and that's okay. So finding what it is that you are really good at, that takes little to no effort, and kind of implementing that into your business if it works alongside with it. So some people kind of gravitate more towards the elderly communities. Other people may target families or daycares, families with kids in daycares. Some people, like myself, I like to target pet parents, because I know a lot about pets, as I have many of them myself. Though that's not the only target that I have. It's just, I know what I can get from the pet store, and I know exactly what you're asking for when you ask for something, because I know all about these things. So that can be helpful. Like Ashley, I did a lot of house cleaning before. I would take people's pets to the vet for them. All sorts of things that you can kind of add in. That's not going to be for everybody though. Not everybody wants to go take somebody's cat or dog to the vet, because that can be, you kind of have to have that in you, right? It's not always going to be rainbows and butterflies. Usually it's just going to be something where it's like, okay, they need the regular checkup. But like for me, it was, my client wasn't able to leave the house. So when the cats were sick, I was the one taking them to the vet. So I'm the one sitting there, taking care of the animal there as the vets are going through, talking to them. So you need to know about the pet. You can't just like have no idea when they're asking you these questions of, how are they sick? So there's a lot that kind of goes into it, and there's more than just those niches that we kind of threw out there. We have, so for example, and this is not going to work for everybody, but we've got somebody that is in Alaska, and his niche, because out in Alaska, in order for a lot of people who are outside the villages to get their groceries, they have to get it by airplane. So that's what he does. He loads everything up into the airplanes on ice if they need it, keeping them temperature controlled, and then they fly off. We have somebody else in Florida who does more of like resorts. So he loads everything onto a boat that goes across the water to a remote island for the families that are on vacation. Again, not everybody does that. Those are their niches that they're able to do within their business, because not only is that super something that happens a lot in their area, but they know about it. They know how to do this, and they've made it work. So finding what it is in your area and that you're wanting to do and are going to find interesting, because don't just throw everything into a basket and be like, I'm going to do all of this. You're going to burn yourself out, and you're going to kind of probably push more people away than you are bringing, because you're not putting the focus on like one or two specific niches. So try to make sure that you're not just going like for everything, focus on a couple at first, and then you can kind of build from there as you get things, taken off, and as clients are coming in and like, oh, you do this, you do that. Yeah.
And you want to think about too, when you're doing something different like that, it's not just saying I'm offering this different service and here's this price for it. So thinking about, right, if you're working with like elderly or daycare, there might be a different avenue there. It might be that you're a safe option. They don't want random people coming in and out. And so how do you market that you're a safe option? Maybe you get a background check that you can give them, something like that. Or if you're targeting, these vacation rentals, there's some different things that happen. They don't always care about what store you're at. They care about the items and the price. Or they might need something different, like, hey, we need a stroller and diaper wipes, and the little store here doesn't have that where we're going to be on vacation. So just whatever it is that you are targeting, really try to understand what a customer in that space would need, what the value is that you bring. And that can mean, adjusting your profile or your flyers or what have you a little bit, or it could mean that the customers that you get are not very tech savvy, and you kind of have to set an appointment with them and meet them and help them get set up to be your customer, instead of just like, I have their order, I'm going to go do it, they're my customer now. So preparing yourself that for every exciting thing that you're good at, there's some challenges. And it can mean tweaking things a little bit to fit that better. Again, you don't have to tweak it so much that a normal person can't just place an order with you and do a normal grocery order. But those are the people that you're not targeting when you word a post online, right? Or those are the people that you're not spending any marketing money towards. The people that you are focusing on are the ones that match your niche. So if this is something that you're feeling really stuck on, feel free to reach out to Sarah and myself and just kind of tell us, this is my past experience. This is where I am comfortable. And then we can kind of help guide you in the right direction and give you some ideas of where to look. But definitely start somewhere that you really are kind of the expert, and it will help you stand apart. Even if it was just, when I did this other app, these are the customers that always loved me and gravitated towards me and were willing to talk to me and were really comfortable with me. That can be worth looking at. But as Sarah said, it doesn't mean that you're going to necessarily do the elderly, the family, the pet people, and give all of those 100% and like separate flyers all over town, because that would be a lot to manage. And so just think about a couple to start with that make the most sense for you, or just what keeps coming up for you, what you really feel confident in when you do it, and go that direction.
think sitting down and really thinking about all of this. So whether you want to put it all out on paper, or if you're more of a computer person, you can sit down with, a spreadsheet, lay it all out, lay out, what are my strengths and my interests that, I can bring to the table that kind of correlate within the business, right? Again, it's not going to just be grocery delivery. And then within those categories, what are the types of people for each one? And then you can kind of see, are there any overlaps between the different ones? And it'll help you kind of see of like, all right, for this category, these are the types of people. So this is maybe the type of marketing. So if it's especially more elderly, you're probably going to go a little less on the social, not stopping altogether, because there are plenty of elderly that are on social, but there's other ways you can go about that. If you're going to be doing, an elderly community, whether it's a nursing home, assisted living, you can go there. You can set up a presentation, maybe. You can, like Ashley said, flyers or brochures can be helpful for things like that, of like good kind of walkthroughs with a little bit more information than just a download the app type of thing, because they'll need some help. Daycares, you're focusing on kids. So what can you do that's going to draw in the attention of the families that are scrolling through on the social media? So just taking that time to really think about, okay, who is it that I want to bring in? What are my specialties, and how do the two of those correlate? And then kind of go from there.
Like if I'm working for coffee stands, right, and that's kind of my target, I'm going to do more posts related to such and such store that has all the cups, right? Or I might do more posts about, I have a Costco membership, or things like that, versus like, look at all these diapers on sale, because that might not make sense for my average customer.
So
the next one we've got is what happens if you need to take extended time off, or you need to move in your business? Both Sarah and I have moved in our business, and it depends on your situation. We'll kind of talk about a couple examples here, but for the most part, there might be another shopper in your area. Build a relationship with them, and you can sometimes give them some of your clients, even temporarily. And what this does is this helps your clients still have in-store pricing, no annual membership fee, but they're going to work with a business that might have some different pricing or some different policies, and kind of set those expectations. You could even meet with this shopper, sit down with them and say, hey, I really care about this client. Her kid has a nut allergy, and kind of smooth some of that process for them. Another way is, of course, communicating with clients. When it's probably a good time to start to let them know. So, hey, I'm going to be gone for maybe it's a month. If you need anything, let's try to get your order in before I leave, or something to that nature. It also depends how far you're going, right? I know when I moved, I was within an hour. Wasn't a great driving distance, but I had a couple clients that I said, I'm still going to drive for those until I really find the right fit for them, because these clients, I make enough that it's okay. I can drive out of town. But the clients that are just sometimes clients or smaller orders, I'm definitely not going to prioritize those now. And of course, the biggest aspect for me was these clients had become like family. And so it's like saying goodbye to a friend, moving away from a friend, and handling that with care. We still send Christmas cards, right? They're just not who I'm delivering groceries to now. So a few different ways to go about that. If you're feeling stuck, definitely reach out and we can help. But just know, if you restart your business somewhere else, you have your reviews, you have your experience, you have all the things that you've learned along the way, the mindset. It's just a matter of marketing to customers again without like referrals, and kind of starting over in that aspect. So don't feel like you have to throw everything in the trash and start completely from scratch. It's just a matter of going the direction that makes sense for you now. And it's a little bit easier the second time. You're obviously not going to be the same level of orders immediately if you've just moved in your business. But you already have the confidence and know how to talk to people, and the experience that definitely makes it easier.
I think what a lot of people have a little bit of a hard time kind of understanding, because again, so many people come from the gig world, right, where we're competing against each other for all of these orders, is, oh, there's another shopper in my area, and they look at it as almost a bad thing. And I've kind of always been the opposite, even before I started coaching and joined the Dumpling team, and I was just a business owner. I was so excited when another Instacart shopper was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to start my business here too. And we were both in the same exact area, but we weren't competing, because she was doing her thing and I was doing my thing. And then when I ended up moving, I had somebody that I knew I could trust to take on my clients, and she was going to give 100% as much care, and everything that I would, and I knew my clients were in good hands. And that, for me, I think it says so much more than the, oh, well, I just did this by myself and my clients now have nowhere to go when I leave. Not everybody has another shopper in their area, or it just doesn't work out, which that's okay. But if you do, and you're able to kind of grow that and kind of work with each other, it's so helpful. And it's so nice for me to know, like, if I'm sick, I can just send my clients over to Julie and she's going to be able to take care of it. Or if I go on vacation, and it's longer than a week and they're really needing something, there's somebody there that can take care of them. They don't have to go to the other gigs, because that, to me, is so much more important than the possibility, and the very, very small possibility, that those clients are going to leave and never come back to me and just be Julie's now, because that's not the case. I've never had a client that actually did that. Most of my clients, they see her a couple times a year as well, because I get sick, I go on vacation, I'm one person, and I do not shop when I am sick. It doesn't matter if it's the sniffles or straight on COVID. I'm not going to go to the store, because I'm not taking that chance. So I know at the end of the day, I've got that somebody there to kind of, that helps back me, right? But we are two separate businesses. So it's, again, kind of a mindset shift, which we talk about a lot when you're coming from another gig, is other businesses are not your competition, because there are so many clients out there. So viewing it as more of an asset, somebody that can help both you and your clients in those times of need, can just be really beneficial.
And within that, I mean, this is kind of a downside to doing a physical job where we're out on the road all the time, but big things happen too, right? We've heard of people having car accidents or needing a surgery, like a carpal tunnel surgery or something. That happens when you do service work. It's an unfortunate side effect of this kind of job, but being prepared can definitely make it easier and less stressful. So don't feel like you have to wait until you're moving or until you're sick to get to know another shopper. This is something you can kind of do gradually, like you would with a normal colleague, right? Something you can kind of do ahead of time, and it can go both ways. And that way, if they're sick or something happens, you're there as well. You can obviously have boundaries, right? I'll serve your people in this area, but I'm not driving an hour and a half for your other customers. Is there someone on that end, or are those the customers that kind of fall through the cracks right now? You definitely don't have to do 100% all or nothing, but gradually building those relationships can help a lot too. And I know when I started, there was another shopper in my area who was also named Ashley, big surprise. And her and I did not think we looked alike, but there were some customers that did. And so it actually became quite funny to us. I would sometimes get her great reviews on my Facebook page, and I'm like, well, I didn't do this work to deserve this review, but at least you're a cool person to be compared to. And she eventually did close up her business. And so we were able to kind of work that out as well. And it helped us know each other existed as well, so that we could differentiate each other a little bit. And so I decided, I'm going to change my profile picture for a little bit. It's not going to be a headshot. It's going to be an action shot of me shopping, and that will help them differentiate. We'll kind of rebrand a little bit this way. And so we talked about this, we talk about this all the time, but don't compare yourself to others, but do every so often check the zip code search in your area. People do have to opt into this and meet some requirements to be on there. So there is a chance that there could be shoppers in your area that aren't listed, but for the most part, you'll kind of see who's active right now in your area. And sometimes people come and they decide it's not for them and they don't stay long term, but checking every few months can really help you get an idea of, like, this person's a little similar to me. Like there's some similarities that could be a good transition for my clients. And that's someone that it can be worth kind of reaching out to and just saying, hey, I just wanted to introduce myself. We can help each other if we ever need to, and just kind of inspire each other along the way. When we work by ourselves, it can be kind of lonesome sometimes. And so it's also just nice to sort of have a colleague to meet with for coffee sometimes who just gets it. They have the same challenges or the same sort of issues. And it's nice to sit down together and go back and forth with some advice for each other. I love meeting other shoppers like that. It helps a lot. Makes you feel like you're no longer just struggling to do this by yourself, even if they're a completely different business. So yeah, I like what you said about, it's an asset. Use it like one.
Exactly. So the next topic would be, so continue learning and growing within your business. I think no matter where you kind of are, there's always that potential to continue to learn, to continue to grow. Not everybody wants to continue to grow, and that's okay, but you can still continue to learn in that business. There's never really like a cap, right? There's always new things that are coming out, whether it's new courses or techniques, ideas, all sorts of things. So dive into all of that. The local library can be a really great resource for a lot of this stuff. So not only do they have books, but they have online, they tend to have courses that you can take, whether it's tutorials, things like that. You can join the local small business association in your area. That also goes with like networking groups in your area, local chamber of commerce, all sorts of things you guys can dive into. Can be extremely helpful. Just Googling courses on specific things. So whether it's, I really want to kind of dive into social media more and just how to create really nice graphics. Like, what are the key things for me to know? Google it, see what's out there, because Canva has so many tutorials just on their site alone. That doesn't even hit the Google ones that you'll find within YouTube and all of that. So Google is honestly going to be your best friend within this business. It can pretty much tell you just about anything that you're wanting to know, or at least guide you in the correct direction of where you're wanting to go. I know Ashley and we use it all the time between Google and YouTube, and just diving and digging for that information to learn more, because even, for us, we're constantly doing that because things always evolve. We may know the latest as something and then it changes and we're not up to date. So it's keeping yourself and your business kind of up to date within the current what's going on, right? So this also includes, as we were talking about, whether it's recalls or the current just state of food and inflation, all those things that are out of stock in the store, where you can find them. These are all things that you can continue to learn and help to grow your business as well.
And even just like staying motivated, right? So it could be changing some of what's on your social media feed on your downtime to include some things that kind of inspire you or help you work through things and get better. I know LinkedIn Premium is another example, right? There's courses that talk about like how to have negative conversations, how to do those sorts of things. Of course, LinkedIn Premium does cost money, but I know here, my library, that's one of their benefits actually, is that you can log in with your library card and access all of those courses. So if something is a paid thing that is not worth it for you to pay for right now, look into that. See if your local library has it. See if maybe if you're a member of the PTA at your school, sometimes there's some discounts there. Sometimes your bank, if you use a local credit union, will have discounts for things like that. So just kind of read through what they offer discounts for, and there might be something that you qualify for. Even just like reading books that make you feel empowered in your business. A lot of people like to do that. It sounds silly to talk about reading self-help books, but it can really help us to appear confident and handle conflict and be good at customer service, all sorts of things like that. So again, these are things you can build into your admin time. You don't have to just do it 24/7, but make it a point to gradually try to learn something, and it will help you a lot. Perfect. And then I think the last one we really want to touch on today is just give you guys some examples of some of the most creative things that we've heard recently that come up in coaching or office hours that maybe you didn't get to hear that you would like to hear. So I'll kind of give you guys one of mine, and then I'll turn it over to Sarah to share another. I love seeing shoppers do holiday themed things. So gift baskets for, Valentine's Day, Halloween, all sorts of fun things like that. Different holiday specials. We've got one guy that wears silly holiday outfits, whatever it may be. And it really helps move their business during slow months and keeps them top of mind. It helps people talk to them in the store, helps people do add-on services, whatever it may be. But I love all the holiday extras. I think they're so fun and creative.
For me, I think so shoppers getting local partnerships. So this can range drastically anywhere from a local store or meat market to like real estate agents or Airbnbs, resorts, hotels, like kind of the sky is the limit. They just reach out to whatever is in their local area that is comfortable for them. So not everybody's going to go for the hotels or the resorts. Some people want to keep it more local, of the smaller mom and pop stores, the meat markets, things like that. But think about what you have around you that doesn't already have this, and then go after it. If it's something that you're interested in, that you're like, oh, my business can definitely help not only their clients, but them. Talk to them, sit down, have a conversation. Realizing it's not going to be like a partnership on the level of, say, the other gigs, but you can still kind of work together, as in you talk about them on your socials and they do the same thing. Or maybe you leave some business cards at their front desk and they tell their clients about you and pass it along, or you're able to hang a flyer. And then again, if anybody calls up or comes in and says, hey, is there any way I can get delivery? They can point them in the direction of you. So there are so many different avenues within this that I think some people kind of overlook. So really just taking that time and thinking, what is in my area that I would really love to provide a service from or to, because as Ashley said, there are coffee shops that may need a delivery, right? It's not always delivering from the coffee shop, but maybe they need their milk or their cups or whatever it is from the larger warehouse stores. You can be that person that does that if you are interested in it and if they're able to kind of find you. So again, this kind of goes back to social media. I think marketing for that can be extremely helpful within there, and then tailoring that niche to those types of businesses or clients that would use those businesses.
Yeah, that's always really fun to see the different avenues people go. You'll get things that you wouldn't even thought of. And it's like one person works with apartment communities because they used to work as an apartment manager or something of that sort. And so it's just fun to see the different avenues people go with that. And sometimes it's very creative. You would never kind of picture this with groceries, but they found a way to really make that partnership work. And it's just always fun to hear those stories. A similar one is kind of these concierge extras that people do. So the travelers, they might add stroller rental or local guides for the area, things like that. Or we've got someone that works with college students, and she's kind of like the mom for all the families who live far away and are missing their kids. And what she does is she can do their birthday surprises or help them when they're sick, or just go in and check on them or whatever it may be. And it's just such a creative avenue for her business that isn't necessarily just, I'm going to pick out the best produce for you and then see you next time. It's a lot more of like a specific relationship that people build. Perfect. And with that, thank you guys for joining us today. We hope you found this information helpful. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us through the Help Center, which is help.dumpling.us. We will include this in the description as well. You can also reach us from the Message Center in your Boss app, and you just click Contact a Coach, and it will go right to Sarah and myself.
So, bye, everybody.